It's Friday and we're finishing up a full week of being on site here doing excavation work for the container barn. And I'm getting a little tuckered here. I'm getting a little tired. I'm Justin Hitt from Prosperity Homestead. So first off, usually I'm working a desk or I'm working in a garden. So to be completely honest with you, because I know a lot of you folks out there, I looked at the demographics. A lot of you guys are 45 and older, 65 even, and you're finally going to pull the trigger on your dream, which is a small farm or a homestead, and you're like a little concerned about the work it's going to take. Now I'm up there. I'm not that old, but I'm basically a desk jockey most of the time. I'm doing videos, I'm writing content, I'm doing design plans, project management, risk management work. It requires a lot of telephone time rather than being out here on an excavator for 4 or 5 hours or hauling dirt back and forth or other things. Don't let the work truck fool you. That's just the farm truck. And the reason I'm telling you this stuff, folks, is because it is hard work, okay? However, if we can help you get the project done faster, meaning taking less time, I don't want to be doing this for the rest of my life to get to a stage where I can enjoy the property. So that's a big thing that we're about here at Prosperity Homestead. How do we get you to property enjoyment? So on this property, we showed you trails first, so all your access points. We don't have water here yet. So we're getting water in place now that we decided where the barn's gonna go. And then getting animals on the land. Those are the priorities here. You could live in a tent or a van down by the river. However, if the comfort isn't there, if the dream isn't progressing, you will get frustrated. So we worked every day this week, okay? And so this is hard. You might be sitting in an excavator. I turned the air conditioner off on the excavator yesterday because I had the door open and everything, and I was like, it got pretty hot up there. But that bumping and back and forth and doing this stuff is necessary to experience, but it's not necessarily for you to be the only one doing it. So first off, when you're doing big projects like this, you want more than one person on site because you're going to need somebody to spot, you're going to need somebody for safety, you're going to need somebody to swap off with. You need to have people who know how to use the equipment. But you don't want to be doing this in a haphazard way. You want a systematic approach that is safe, that is by design, and then ultimately delivers to you the outcomes that you're looking for in a short window of time. Now we got two things. We got time and money. Now a lot of you guys are doing these projects on your own because you don't have the money, and that's okay. Money gets tight, especially now with inflation the way it is. And so can you co-op? Can you raise the money? Can you make the design a little bit smaller and more incremental? Meaning, can you step into where you want to be? These are things that we talk about in the mastermind program. This is where we're in coaching. Depending on your land project, you may be able to do more, you may be able to do less. A lot of folks out there are building this 10,000 square foot houses, 5,000 square foot houses, not realizing that when your kids move off, then you're gonna have this big giant house on a piece of land and nobody living in it. Now, if you're gonna do a bed and breakfast, that's one thing. But ultimately, can you live smaller? Now, we talk about intentional thrift here. Can you reduce your expenses while maintaining a lifestyle that's enjoyable, but more enjoyable as you move closer to the achievement of your dream? So, you might downsize now before you downsize for the farm. Now, when you're running animals on the farm, what's more important? Raising the animals or having customers? Okay, a lot of folks end up with a petting zoo. We don't want that. If you're raising animals for agricultural purposes, it is better to find your customers and other people who already offer the animal products that you have, which could be potential competitors in the future, but I don't see things as competitors. I see things as cooperative because you ultimately want to build a community. So if you find somebody, let's say in the goat situation here, instead of me raising goats and trying to compete with other people, I go find the customers for those who already have goats. What communities buy that product, what markets want that product, and then I will source with who's available, and then I can determine whether or not I need to be growing that animal at all, and other than just getting these woods cleared up. See, because there's a ramp up period that even if I was living on the property right now, or we had all the paddocks set up, you still got a ramp up period before you're going to have product for market. So you need to understand how market works so that you don't end up having product and no market. See, the customer is the most important thing if you're going to be selling on property like that. Now, there are other ways to generate income on your property, working remote. So you might not even need to quit your job to start enjoying this kind of lifestyle. There's other things like, in my case, I do the writing, the podcast, the newsletters. I am selling and offering my project management, risk management, and design skills. And I can, I have clients all over the world. But again, it's going to get wearing on you if you're doing a part of the project that you're not comfortable with, or that you don't have a proficiency in. And you just have to understand, don't give up. This is the learning lesson. You're learning that this type of work is either something you need to do 2 or 3 days a week, or something that you can do in a sprint. Like I know, for example, this is Friday. We've been out here since Monday. That I got 2 days to recover. In those 2 days, I'm going to do bookkeeping and mow the lawn and do all the house chores and stuff like that. But I even then have to prioritize those things, because Monday we'll come back again and we'll be right back out here. We want to finish this job to return the equipment. In fact, this equipment already has a next job to do. So it's going to be taken to another farm. And hopefully I can get you some footage of that, because I think this is the gap where a lot of people miss, that it's not just go buy a tractor and then, there's a couple channels out there where it seems like they're equipment dealers or something. They got new equipment every week. They're trying the electric tractor. They're not getting any work done. If all you're doing is driving equipment and trying new equipment, and then what substantial work are you getting done? So again, we put things in project plans. We finish one project at a time. We might work 2 projects in parallel. Like for example, for this site, electric's coming in at the same time we're getting this pad in place for the barn. But the barn's going up as 2 containers, and then later going to get covered. And then, it's kind of a phased approach. I need lockable storage at this one. Now I got another site that I'm helping to develop that they don't have power. We just did the septic marking because they're going to have a permanent house structure there. And so we're determining whether or not they're going to timber the woods, or they're going to just cut a path for their in the home site. But all these projects can happen at the same time because they're on paper, can get parked. So having a written project plan with your designs, everything in one place, helps you be more organized, but ultimately you can set one project aside if a delay comes up. So in this case today, I haven't seen the electric company guy come out here. We got the area cleared. It's ready to drop power in. If we had power here, it can unlock another project. But ultimately that hasn't happened. So our effort is focused on the pad site for the barn. Now, once the pad site for the barn is done, I'll be in parallel, like on the weekend or early in the morning, following up on the power. And then we got a well coming up next. And so this seems like it's, as long as you have forward progress, the physically hard days, the setbacks, it all works out. So I have a map at the house that shows power, water. We already checked off the access, barn, and then after the water is up, we're going to start with fencing. And part of that fencing plan that we already started staging is the power and water down the entire perimeter of the property over there. Now, the last point I wanted to address, because a lot of you guys are going to say, I got time, but I don't have any money. Okay, get the money, okay? Because this stuff is not cheap. The price of poles, so the corner poles for a fence, were like $12 a piece before COVID. They went up to $50 a piece during COVID, and now they're down to like $25 a piece. So they've doubled in cost. And even this little project here I did with the kid, these check tank stopper things, we're going to paint these, and we're going to use them as temporary gates to section off different areas of the property, because there's a hip camp here as well. I'd rather have these as fences now. because these poles that were like $3 when I got them are like almost $10 a piece now. The prices come and go. So again, when you get a little bit of money, you can buy fencing, you can buy the materials you have, but you need some place to store them. So you should focus on getting your storage in place. Then if you're gonna have animals, you need some way to feed them. I don't wanna blow you up on that. Ask your questions below. I've got strategies, I've got methods, I've got ways of helping you organize the project so that you can achieve more with a land project. And then ultimately, how do you get the systems in place in order to make it happen in the shortest period possible without cutting corners, without being cheap, without building something that will last. I'm Justin Hitt with Prosperity Homestead. I'm rushing because the team's here. I'll see you in the next video. Like and subscribe. It's better if you just go ask questions. Let's get something going.